Johnson. He's down to the goal line. He's over.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video, and welcome to the Gridiron. And before I get started, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who's been watching my videos. I greatly appreciate it. If you give this video a thumbs up, or maybe leave a comment below, or maybe share the video, it would mean so much to me. But anyway, thank you so much for taking time to watch this video. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. So yesterday ramped up to 2-day joint practices between the Giants and the Patriots, and then of course, 2 days we have the third and final preseason game. Obviously the Giants and the Patriots. So I mean, there was some interesting things that went on yesterday. Quite a bit of news. Always seems like there's a decent amount of news. The one is finally, I guess, been about 11 months in the making, but Saquon, Superman, was on the field. He had, I believe it was 8 reps. I think he had 4 reps. They had 7-on-7 drills. He had 4 reps. It was 11-on-11. He had 4 reps. He caught a few balls, which is, very impressive. Fortunately, he had a red jersey on. And afterwards, he was speaking to, some of the reporters and all and everything, and he said, one of the reporters asked him about, what he thought about the red jersey, and he said, "Oh, I hate it, don't like it at all." But he understands, he needs to come along slowly. It was the first time he had any reps really at all, especially against another team since last September when he went down against Chicago. So that's huge. Even he got on there just for 8 reps, but that's huge. Now, the interesting thing we'll have to see is that, I know there's a bunch of guys that'll be out for Sundays, the preseason game. But, let's just wait and see. I haven't heard anything, especially I haven't heard of, anything where he's not, Saquon will not play. I haven't heard that, so we'll just wait and see. See if maybe gets in there in a couple, because, he's got to take some hits. Barkley agrees with that, but Joe Judge says, I'm not doing the guy any justice by just, saving him and not let him get any hits at all. And then when the first game of the season against the Broncos comes along, they just, there you go. Go get him, Tiger. So he's going to need to, get hit a few times before he goes out on the field. But even if he does obviously play against the Patriots, I can't see it being much more than like half a dozen or so, maybe 10 plays, maybe at the most. But I think even when he's going against the Broncos too, we saw what Devontae Booker can do. All right. But even if Saquon plays against the Broncos, he'll be on a pitch count. He'll probably be on a pitch count probably for the first couple games. You know what I mean? So we're just going to ease him in slow. Because we do have 17 games this year, the biggest schedule of all time. And the Giants, obviously, hopefully, knock on wood, make the playoffs. Could be 18, could be 19 games. It's a long season. I don't know. It's great watching football that many times, but it's like, how long are you going to make the season? Seriously, really. Because then you got 17 games, and you figure if a team plays, like, say, 3 playoff games and goes to the Super Bowl, it's 21 games. That's a long season. It's, you're increasing the guys' chances of getting injured, maybe permanently, just for an extra game. It's unfortunately, it's all about this. So, the owners will make this, but, also the players are going to make some extra money as well, too. So, it is what it is. But it was so good to see Saquon back out on the field. Thank you. Finally, after 11 months. Didn't it feel good? And then we had a trade. we had a trade. The Giants traded their backup kicker, Ryan Santoso, to the Carolina Panthers for a conditional 7th round pick. I believe he has to be on the roster for 2 games this season. Then we'll wind up with the 7th round pick. So if we do, get that 7th round pick, the Giants will have 11 picks next year. Pretty good. 2 firsts, a second, 2 thirds, 2 fourths, a 5th, a 6th, and 2 7ths. So we'll have 11 picks next year. I mean, as of right now. With the 6th or a 7th or anything like that, is they're not really like dealing chips. It's not like move up in the first round. Hey, we'll give you our 6 and our 2 7ths. I mean, that's not really spicing up the deal at all. A lot of times 7th rounders are like I mean, maybe you can flip flop 7th rounders with somebody, move up, or maybe you try to find the diamond like Carter Coughlin or Tay Crowder, Mr. Irrelevant, right? You can find maybe diamond in the rough, But it's just nice to have them, because you got to have those picks because you're always turning over your roster. And if you get those picks in the 7th round, and you get those guys who can actually make the team, man, they made the team, they're on the cheap. So that's huge, especially for the Giants, their salary cap situation going into next year. So if they get the pick for Ryan Santoso, that'll be fantastic. That'll give him 11 picks for next year. Now he's got a booming leg, I think he had 2 extra points he made this year. The Giants scored 3 touchdowns, but the 3rd touchdown he scored against which wound up being the 2nd touchdown in the game against the Browns. They went for 2. Because if they kicked the extra point, it would have been 14-14, and it didn't wind up tied. But Joe Judge didn't want the game being tied, so he went for 2, and we didn't make it, which is kind of a little annoying, because on the play before that, I mean, it was like a double penalty. I don't usually wind up seeing stuff like that. I mean, I think David Sills was interfered with in the end zone. And it wound up being the interference was a face mask, so it was they got like 2 half the distance penalties marked off from I guess 2 penalties. So they had the pass interference on the Browns, which went half the distance from the 2 to the 1, and then there was a personal foul as the face mask, which was the interference. So that one was accepted as well too. So that moved it from the 1 to the half-yard line. So the Giants had a 2-point conversion try from the half-yard line, and the guy, I forgot who ran the ball. It was Brightwell, Clement, I forgot who it was. But they gave him the ball, and he couldn't. I don't even think he even got back to the line of scrimmage. I mean, the run blocker was very bad, very, very bad. More on that in a few minutes. But I mean, he has Santos has a booming leg. Very strong. I think he had 5 kickoffs, and I think they were all touchbacks. So I mean, he's And the thing is that with the Giants, because they got Dixon and they got Gano. I mean, they're set. So all they were trying to do with Santoso was just basically get him out there and show him what he can do. I give some people some tape on him, but also try to trade him because he wasn't going to be on the Giants' 53-person roster unless one of the punter or the kicker got hurt, which is highly unlikely. So, I mean, they were trying, because they were going to have to, probably this Tuesday coming up at 4 o'clock, they were going to have to let him go. And if they let him go, somebody else could just scoff him up. And the Giants would get no compensation. So what the Giants tried to do was try to trade him before Tuesday at 4 o'clock. And they did. I mean, they were never going to get a second or a third rounder for the guy, but they got possibly they got a 7th. All he has to do is be on the roster for two games. That's quite possible. So that might work out for the Giants very well, and it works out for hopefully Santoso as well too, because Joe Judge is very high on him. He said he's one of the top 32, and he deserves to be on the team. So that's what he tried to do. Anyway, then he the Denver Broncos, okay, they announced their starting quarterback is going to be Teddy Bridgewater against the Giants in Week 1. Now, last year, Teddy, he was, he's better at protecting the ball, okay, than Drew Lock is, okay. Drew Lock's got a livelier arm, stronger arm, all of this, and he's younger, nice second-round pick and all that, but he's just not seeming to work out too well, for the Broncos. Teddy's a better, obviously more experienced, and he's better at protecting the ball. Now, last year when he was with Carolina, okay, he was the 16th worst quarterback, all right, when it was pressure, all right, and he was the 5th worst quarterback against the blitz, okay. So if the Giants can, Patrick Graham can dial up some pressure and some blitzes, they might be onto something here, okay. Last year Teddy was had 15 touchdown passes and he had 11 interceptions, and as I said, he does a better job of protecting the ball than Drew Lock does. Now, and also Teddy, I mean, if you give him a lane, he'll pull the ball down and take off. Last year, I mean, he had 53 rushes. I mean, he's not Michael Vick. He's not, But, I mean, if need be, he'll run. I mean, he had 53 rushes last year. He played 15 games. So, 3-4 times a game, he'll take off with it. He had 279 yards rushing. He averaged 5.3 yards a carry. Right, he had 5 rushing touchdowns, okay, and out of those 53 runs, 18 of them went for first down. So if the Giants aren't careful, you get some pressure, but also try to keep him contained. Because if you're not, he's experienced enough, he's knowledgeable enough, pull the ball down and just take off and get what he can. So, but I mean, if the Giants can dial up some pressure, which they can, I mean, because I'll tell you what, I mean, I'm hearing nothing. I mean, knock on wood. Lorenzo Carter has been looking really good, and the X-Man, Oshane Ximines, I'll tell you what, he's been looking really good. Man, I'm nothing but good things. I'm watching some videos of him and stuff like that. He is looking good. And if we get Azeez Ojulari in there, we might actually have some pass rushers. Oh, my God. But, so, I mean, I said Patrick Graham can dial up some stuff against Teddy Bridgewater. We might be on to something. Drew Lock, I mean, last year he had 5th. Okay, so you think Daniel Jones is bad, all right? Drew Lock had 15 interceptions last year, right? And he had 8 fumbles. He was only sacked 19 times the whole year. Compare that to Daniel Jones, all right, who threw 10 interceptions. He had his fumble problems, okay, but he only had 10 interceptions. But he was sacked 45 times. He was sacked 2.5 times more than Drew Lock. And Drew Lock threw 15 interceptions and fumbled the ball 8 times. I mean, Drew Lock wasn't pick 6 like Daniel Jones was, but they had some high hopes for Drew Lock, but he just doesn't seem to be working out. Now, as I said, with Teddy, he's more conservative with the ball, protects the ball better. But they got some weapons though. All right, they do have some weapons. Their defense has improved. I mean, the defense was kind of, wasn't the greatest in the world last year. The Broncos were, only 5-11. Okay, so, but I mean, don't let that mislead you. I mean, as I said, they got Jerry Jeudy. All right, they got Noah Fant, they got KJ Hamler, and they got Cortland Sutton. All right, so they got some weapons. All right, they got some nice young guys. Okay, that all right, so we got to be careful of that. And they also have their I don't know, called dynamic duo, but they're running backs, right? Melvin Gordon, okay, and Javonte Williams. So I mean, they could obviously cause some problems. They're gonna move the ball and they can score some points. All right, so it's up to the Giants defense to keep it under control. Okay, not only that, but the offense is gonna have to score some points too, which leads me into my next point. Okay, which is it was the second joint practice. All right, was Jones against Jones. Actually, it wasn't like Jones against Jones. Cam Newton started, and he did very well. I think he was 4 for 6 on his first drive with the Patriots. He led them to a touchdown. But then Daniel Jones came in, And he had a very good day. And then after that, Mac Daddy Jones was in there for the Patriots, and he didn't quite have such a good day as he did the day before. All right, Daniel Jones. I'm getting a lot of this information from like reading stories, and these reporters and all. Sometimes they're like 100 yards away, and they're trying to count. Trying to figure out who threw the ball, who caught the ball, was it a completion, this, that. So sometimes you get conflicting reports. Like yesterday, I had Mac Daddy Jones. One guy said he was 35 out of 40. I saw somebody else saying he was 33 out of 39. I mean, so it's like, But, I mean, one person I saw that Daniel Jones is 23 out of 29. Okay? Sterling Shepard, who's been phenomenal all year. Okay, in preseason so far, I actually had 2 drop balls. Okay, which is rather odd, but the thing is that Daniel Jones, all right, what I was reading, all right, it was like Evan Ingram wasn't in there. Okay, I don't know if he's like on a pitch count, they're just trying to rest him up or whatever. They don't want him getting hurt or whatever it is. I don't know, but he wasn't in there. Okay, then obviously Kadarius Toney isn't there, Kenny Galladay's not in. So a lot of guys aren't there. I mean, the guys Daniel Jones was completing the ball to, okay, was Nakia Griffin-Stewart, okay, Elijah Penny. He completed pass to Darius Slayton, who was having a very good preseason, okay, very good. So keep an eye on him. Hopefully he can stay healthy, and he's doing pretty good. But he's completing passes to C.J. Board, Dante Pettis, Caden Smith, who stepped in for Evan Ingram. I mean, so it's like, these guys he's completing passes to. I mean, he was 23 out of 29, okay? And the guys, they're like second-string players. I mean, it's like, imagine what he can do when actually he can hopefully get his full arsenal of first-stringers on the field, okay? And he was 23 out of 29, and the offensive line did not have a good day. More on that in just a minute. But Mac Daddy Jones, when he came in, okay, after, I think Cam just played like 1 series, okay, and then Mac Jones came in. And Mac Jones, what I was reading, was 9 out of 20, okay, after going yesterday, like 35 out of 40 or 33 out of 39, or I also, say he completed 18 passes in a row one time yesterday. Well, apparently he went like 9 out of 20, okay? And I said, Giants got some pressure in on him. I said Lorenzo Carter was doing good. The X-Man was doing very, very good, okay? Blake, after what happened the first practice, Blake Martinez and Logan Ryan really took things kind of personally, and they really stepped it up, and they really, really made sure that the rookie looked kind of like a rookie. Right? He didn't have nearly as many completions as he did in the first practice. So kudos to the Giants defense, right? Now we get to the kind of like the bad news. I mean, I saw like an article and I was reading. The offensive line was kind of like a turnstile today. Not very good at all. I mean, I saw one of the drills I saw was Jake Burton. I think it was. It was like I think it was the center and a guard and a tackle were like doing drills against like 2 defensive players, 2 defensive linemen for the Patriots. And I think when Gates went to like snap the ball, whatever, I think it was like Burton looked like a turn. He was just like, I don't know, he got out of his stance and the other guy just ran right past him. I mean, it was like, it was not looking pretty. Matt Parrott, he gave up a couple sacks. All right. Apparently, what I read, he got pancaked. Now that's not the way it works out. Usually the offensive blocker pancakes the defensive player. Well, apparently this time Matt Parrott got pancaked. And I kind of believe that was true because I was watching some film, the video of the Giants, and they were on one of the drives, and they were huddling up, and I seen Matt Parrott's ass had dirt on it. So I kind of believe in that. He got pancaked, okay? Will Hernandez, okay? He allowed a sack. It didn't look so hot today. Andrew Thomas, he allowed a sack today. All right, he didn't look so great. All right, now I just want to read this here. Well, I got a this was from NJ.com. This is the first two drives that the Giants had. Okay, this just goes to show you how bad their offensive line was today. Okay, I'm not saying it's the way it's going to be or this. Just kind of today. Okay. The first drive, Daniel Jones went for 11 on 11 session. Okay, Daniel Jones, the first pass was a completion to Sterling Shepard. Okay, but one of the Patriots players, Dietrich Wise, went unblocked. So apparently he was rushing in on Daniel Jones. He got the pass off. Sterling Shepard wound up catching it. Okay, the next play, there's a pass to Sterling Shepard. This was one of the ones he dropped. Okay, and it was a sack. All right, from the Patriots edge rusher Josh Uche. Okay, so I mean that's the first series. There was a sack, and somebody was left unblocked and almost got to Daniel Jones. Right, but there was a sack. The second series, the Giants got the ball. Actually, was just like a 4-and-out. Okay. The first play, Devin McCourty blitzed in and got a sack on a blitz. Second play, Uche got a sack. The third play, Uche got a sack. Then there was a false start. Then apparently, out of pity, on the second drive, they just restarted the whole drive from the beginning once again. So basically, on the first two drives, there was like there was like 4 sacks. Could have been 5 sacks on the first two drives. I mean, horrible. After that, things started getting better. Daniel Jones had some nice throws and all that and everything, but my God, they gotta do better. Oh my God. I mean, Rob Sales, he's got his work cut out for him. I mean, hopefully it's just a matter of time of just kind of getting there and gelling and all that and everything. But boy, I'll tell you, very few and far. I mean, Andrew Thomas, I'm hearing little good things here and there about and all and everything. But I'll tell you, Nick Gates, I mean, you're not hearing much bad. You're not hearing much good, but you're not hearing much bad. Okay, but wow,